What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Let's get right into it. Here to bring you an NFL discussion. I guess you can say prediction video on Terry McLaurin. He demanded a trade about 30 minutes ago. Let's get into it. I have about two or three options where I think he probably could go if he is traded, but I don't think he's going to get traded, to be honest. It really makes no sense for Jane Daniels, who's your, if you're a Commanders fan, a franchise guy, obviously. Fantastic rookie year last year. You will not build him up after a great year last year just to kind of make it harder for him in year two. So I think he gets paid. McLaurin it is. I think he gets paid eventually by the Commanders. But if he is traded, big on the if he is traded, I do have two options. There's three, but I don't love the third one, but we'll get into it. I will be ranking them from my personal favorite 1 through 3 options. So let's get into it, guys. So soon to be 30-year-old wide receiver Terry McLaurin turns, I think, 30 September, mid-September. He asked for a trade. I foresaw this coming. I did a couple videos on the Commanders early on in the offseason, around the time they traded for Debo Samuel. And like I said back then, I didn't love how that offseason went. That was a few months ago, so fast forward to now, I still don't love it. They didn't trade for Trey Hendrickson. They brought in old man Von Miller. They didn't play Terry. And the guys they brought in, the Lattimore trade, which was during the season, but the other guys, Jonathan Jones and other guys, it's all cool. But nothing really stood out to me. I didn't love any of their moves, and I said even back then, I forgot what month I did the video on, but what I said, whatever month the Debo was traded to the Commanders, I said it then. They're on a trajectory of having a terrible offseason, and this kind of culminates everything here. Terry won the trade because, and I said it back then, they're in a tricky spot. 30 years old, or soon to be 30 years old. As we all know, most athletes that's non-quarterbacks, they kind of lose their luster at 31, 32. He probably wants a deal. I think the rumor I seen, he wants like was it a DK or a Pickens? He wanted like a deal that was like for a younger receiver, obviously. And, he's just not that. So it's kind of tough. But I do have a couple teams that might be desperate enough to give him that. They do have the cap space, do have the need as well. So let's get into some trade options. So my first trade option, kind of a dark horse, but my first trade option and my first target, if I'm trading for McLaurin, is the Tennessee Titans. And the funny thing is, they could pair, another team could want their rookie quarterback to have a nice young guy, or excuse me, they have their nice young quarterback to pair with a veteran who's very good. As we saw with Jaden Daniels and Terry last year, Cam Ward gets his top receiver in Terry McLaurin. He has two vets on the outside. Well, he has three vets. Tyler Lockett in the slot, Calvin Ridley on the outside, Terry McLaurin on the outside. That would make the Tennessee Titans roster look very, very different than how it looks now. Okay, as of right now, they just lost Traylon Burks. They have Xavier Restrepo, Van Jefferson, Ridley, and Lockett, and then Chig Okonwu and Gunnar Helm. So if you can take out Van as a starter at the other outside spot and you put in Terry, that makes things totally different. That makes the trajectory for the team totally different. So I think the Titans make a lot of sense. They have the current cap space with $29 million for this year. They have the future as well without. Let me see. I want to tell a story. Let me look at the notes I have pulled up real quick. This year they have 29. I was correct there. And next year projected they have 84. So they have enough to pay him long term as well. So that to me makes a lot of sense. Tennessee Titans, I would love that option for Terry and Cam Ward. I think it fits both. He's going to get paid how he wants because they just paid Calvin Ridley, so they definitely can pay him too. I think that made sense there. Definitely, he'll be the receiver one. I'm pretty sure that really, excuse me, I'm pretty sure that McClone is better than really currently. So I'm all cool with that. If I'm the Titans, but like I said, even if they're tied or whatever, however you feel about it, they're 1A, 1B. That's going to be a tough veteran receiving group. Him, Lockett, and McLaurin. That's definitely tough for the Titans there. My secondary option, which is most people's probably first option, Los Angeles Chargers. Make a lot of sense. They just lost Mike Williams via retirement. Now, Terry and Mike are different receivers, are different style receivers, but it still makes sense. Adding him to the group in general, him, Lat McConkey, Trey Harris, Quentin Johnston, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. So, that would be scary for Herbert. And it makes sense as well, but I just don't think the Greg Roman offense needs another guy that's dynamic like Terry, because Terry needs the ball, but if it's tough because they're in the same boat as Tennessee. They have a lot of current cap space, a lot of future cap space also, so they can't pay him long term. Uh, they don't really have any veterans on that roster. Like I said, everybody's young, so it makes more sense to Tennessee, honestly. But I just don't love him in the Greg Roman offense. You have your guy Quentin Johnston, you have Trey Harris, two big body guys, and Ladd McConkey can go everywhere. There's no real room for Terry unless you want to drop off Johnston or trade him to the Commanders in like a swap with plus some picks. That makes sense as well. So I'm not mad at it. I just don't. I know it makes sense. It makes more sense to Tennessee, honestly, but I just don't love it for me. I don't love him in Greg Roman's offense, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong there. That could be the perfect fit. I see it, but I don't love it. But we'll see how it works out if he is moved on from. And the last option, like I said earlier, I don't consider it a real option, but people really do. That's the Steelers. Same. I'm a Falcons fan. Same way I felt about Greg Roman, I feel about Arthur Smith's system. They don't need a McLaurin. It makes sense to get him, but they don't really need him for that system. I know Arthur Smith's system like the back of my hand. You have Aaron Rodgers there, who, so we see now, is struggling, not struggling, but he's in a work in progress trying to get it done with his current guys there. You have Pat Fryermuth, Jonnu Smith, DK, all new targets, like Robert Woods, my young boy from Michigan last year, what's his name? Wilson, forgot his first name, R. Wilson, whatever his name is. I like him a lot, out of Michigan. Small fella, what's his name, man? My mind going blank right now. The smaller guy, the slot gadget player. So he has guys I already worked with. Terry would make it better, but it gives you someone else to even like it adds more pressure to Rodgers and Smith offense, because Smith's offense don't really need that much weaponry. It sounds crazy to say like it's too much, but it is too much. I said the same thing when they first traded for DK. Like him and Pickens, and different reasons too, though, because Pickens and DK were kind of the same style receiver, but even still, some OCs like Arthur Smith, in my opinion, don't do well with too much weaponry. You know what I'm saying? And the Pittsburgh Steelers, their calling card will be this year Keldon Johnson. I predicted pre-draft Keldon Johnson going to the Steelers for a reason. O-line is good. They need to find their identity again. Najee Harris brought it, but didn't bring enough of it. I think Keldon Johnson will be their star player. Their not star, but he'll be their go-to guy. They'll go through him, and then they rely on the play action with Rodgers or the quick pass with Rodgers, the DK for a slant, Jonnu or Pat Fryermuth, or so on and so forth. I don't think there's enough space for Terry McLaurin and Arthur Smith's offense. That's just me. I could be wrong. They could find a space, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think he'll be happy there personally. So those are my main three options. I have Titans as my first option. I think they're a dark horse. No one probably will talk about them, but I really love the fit of Boyd, Boyd, Ridley, Gunningham, Chigakonwu, Spears, Pollard. You bring in Terry too with the rookie Cam Ward. That's tough. That's a tough offense. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we'll see how it goes. Chargers, like I said, they makes the most sense, but I just don't see it happening. Same way I feel about Arthur Smith and his offense, Greg Roman offense, the same way. Like man, like it sounds good. It looks good on paper, but Greg Roman's offense don't call for that much weaponry. But then again, that sounds crazy to say, but I said it about the Steelers too. So, we'll see. We'll see, man. But overall, man, that's my top three options. We'll see what happens. But overall, I don't think he'll be moved, but it's definitely a possibility. So we'll see, man. But that's it for video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.